Have you guys ever struggled with taking the perfect pictures for Instagram? Do you want pictures you can look at that feel professional, clean, and confident? Now, as a professional photographer, I know exactly what it's like when you ask someone to take a picture for you and, well, it turns out like shit. I mean, take a look at this one, or this one, or maybe even this one. I mean, come on. And to be honest, you don't even need a professional camera to get high quality images. Nowadays, with your mobile phone, you're able to get such great images. So today, I'm gonna be sharing with you guys a couple of tips on how to get the most out of your mobile photography. Let's get into it. Now, first up, let's talk about your camera settings. One of the biggest tips is you always want to shoot with the sun behind you. Your phone's camera sensor isn't well equipped to shoot backlit photos, so trying to take a picture directly into the sunlight isn't going to make for some great exposure. So you always want to turn the camera and shoot away from the sun. That way you're getting the most amount of light on your subjects, whether you're shooting street photography, portraits, or any sort of lifestyle pictures. You're just going to get the best quality images if you're shooting with the sun behind you. So let's go ahead and run through a couple of examples. All right, now as you guys can see, shooting directly into the sun, you're getting some pretty nasty exposure. None of these shots are going to be usable at all because there just is no dynamic range that your sensor is going to be able to get. Even if I step into the shade, it looks a little bit better, but you still get the sun right here. But all you have to do is just flip your camera around and shoot with your sun behind you, and you're instantly getting some much better exposure. As you guys can see, the sun is evenly exposing the entire image. You don't have any harsh shadows or highlights, and you're just getting much more even lighting, making for a more aesthetically pleasing photo. So 1, 2, 3, boom. Now, in addition to that, you also want to make sure that you are tapping to focus. This is going to make sure that you're getting exactly what you want in focus, and it's going to ensure that your camera is doing the best job to make sure that everything is sharp and tacked. Because trust me, there are several times where I've taken a picture without tapping to focus, and it comes out just a little bit blurry when I know the camera could have done a little bit better job focusing. All right, so as you guys can see, we're just getting some really nice lighting. I'm going to cross right here, but woo, this Lambo looking crazy. Tap to focus, and oh, my bad. So like I said, you always want to be tapping the subject of your photo to make sure that it's going to be in focus, because there's really nothing worse than getting such a cool image like that, but it's a little bit out of focus. And finally, you want to make sure that if your exposure is constantly changing, that you lock it off. That way your camera sensor doesn't have to work as hard to make sure that they're getting the correct exposure, because you've already locked it to expose for one part of your image, so that no matter how the lighting changes in your image, it's still going to be locked off. Now, obviously, when you're at these gorgeous landscapes, you want to be getting some fire content for Instagram. And trust me when I say I have seen countless tourists taking selfies or pictures that I know just aren't going to be great. And part of it pains me because I wish I could just go over to them and help them take a really great picture. Because trust me when I say that posing in front of the camera is not a very natural thing. And if you're not comfortable with it, it can be very hard to look natural and gain that confidence that you want for your pictures. So a couple of tips on getting the best poses is that you want to do something very natural. You want to use your motion, whether you're walking through the image, playing with your hair, looking over your shoulder, touching your glasses, using props, rather than just kind of standing there very awkwardly, not knowing where to put your hands. You want to move around, you want to play with your hair, you want to touch your outfit, you want to play with some details, and that's immediately going to help you get some more natural looking photos. So right now we are at the Duomo here in Florence, and I've literally seen thousands of people taking pictures, and I'm not gonna lie, they're probably not that great. So we're gonna go walk around and see if anyone needs some help. I hope you take a good picture. All right, 1, 2, 3, perfect. Now take like 3 steps back and walk to me. Hold on, we're gonna wait for people. You guys are good. And walk, walk, walk. Perfect, perfect. One more time. And then just look at each other. Laugh, ha, 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 ha. All right, 1, 2, 3, go. Ha, laughing, ha, 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 ha. Good?
Thank you so much.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. So, let's scoot back a little bit. Okay, perfect. So everyone kind of squeeze in together. 1, 2. Can you go in a little bit more? Yeah, right there, right there. And then can you come out just a little bit? Yeah, right there, right there. All right, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, can you guys like look and laugh at each other? Look at each other. Ha, 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 ha. All right, perfect.
Thank you very much.
No problem. 1, 2, 3. Like hold hands. You guys are dating, right? How about arm around? All right, perfect. Check them.
Thank you.
No problem. Perfect. Just keep moving. Yep. One more time. So you're walking across this angle. Yeah, right there. And go. And then can we do one behind your shoulder like that? And go. Perfect. And then, yeah, perfect. And then can you turn to me? And then we'll just do one more, like eating your ice cream. All right, perfect. Now, as you guys saw, something that really made her photo stand out was that she had the ice cream. And using something like ice cream or sunglasses or glasses as props is a really great way to bring some natural ambiance to your photos. That way you have something to do with your hands rather than just fidgeting or playing around and you don't really know where to put them. Now, obviously I do wear glasses, and this is something that I've actually been integrating into a lot more of my pictures. Just simply having your hand up here, moving it around, playing with your hair, just adds a lot more texture and detail to your photo. So including something like a prop is one of the best ways to elevate your pictures. And if you guys haven't noticed throughout the video so far, well, I have switched out my glasses, and these are from the sponsor of today's video, glassesusa.com. And I'm not gonna lie, for 95% of my pictures, I am wearing a pair of glasses, if not sunglasses. Not only do they easily elevate any sort of outfit, but they also provide a great prop, especially when I'm taking these photos. By cutting out the middleman, glassesusa.com offers over 10,000 prescription glasses and sunglasses, including in-house brands and designer brands like Ray-Ban, Oakley, Gucci, and many more at up to 70% off retail prices. Now, I've been wearing glasses almost my entire life, and I know the struggle of finding the perfect pair, but with glassesusa.com, you can virtually try on every single pair so that you know exactly what it's gonna look like. And to be honest, this was a huge lifesaver while I was picking out these new frames, because to be honest, my head is a little bit big, so finding a pair of frames that fit my face was a little bit difficult, but the virtual try-on tool made this whole process a breeze. In addition to that, they even have an online quiz which helps you narrow down exactly the type of frames you're looking for, depending on the occasion, style, or materials you're looking to get. And in addition to that, they even have blue light blocking glasses, which is pretty essential, especially for someone like me who's constantly working behind a screen, so that your eyes aren't gonna get fatigued by staring at a computer screen all day long. Now, to be honest, your style of glasses pretty much help round out your identity. So if you guys are looking to try out a brand new pair of glasses, head to the link in my description to check out glassesusa.com. They bring a certain style of elegance to my fits, and like I said, they're the perfect prop while I'm taking these pictures for Instagram. So let's keep it rolling. Now, if you're shooting on something like an iPhone, which is equipped with 3 different lenses, you're able to get a lot more detail and variety with your shots, because you not only have an ultra wide normal, but you also have a telephoto lens. And to be honest, I pretty much use all 3 of these lenses on every single one of my shots, depending on the type of detail that I'm trying to showcase. Now, for example, I'll use the ultra wide when I want to get a full body outfit picture, showcase the entire background behind me, and then switch it over to the one-time lens when I want to just showcase a little bit of the upper body, as well as a little bit of the landscape and background behind me. And then the telephoto lens is perfect when I want to showcase those details, whether it's the accessories or props that I'm using. And the combination of all 3 of those lenses is really how you're gonna get the most depth out of your mobile photography. And the same tips can also apply for your videos. So if you're shooting TikToks or Reels, using the ultra wide to showcase more of your establishing shots or the landscapes you're in, the standard lens for your basic day-to-day clips, and then the telephoto lens for your more detailed shots is really how you're gonna elevate your entire mobile videography. And in addition to that, whenever you're taking your pictures, you always wanna try and shoot up. This is not only gonna make your subjects look taller, but it's gonna be able to showcase more of your environment, because rather than shooting at your waist level, if you're actually able to get lower and point your camera up, it's going to show off a lot more detail in your background and once again make your subject stand out. And finally, one of the last tips when it comes to taking your photos in camera is going to be about your composition. Now, what exactly is your composition? Well, essentially it's how you're composing your images. And at the essence of every good photograph is going to be good composition. Now, there are a couple of really simple and easy tips you can do in camera to get better composition. And the first one is going to be turning on your grids. As soon as you turn on your grids, you're immediately going to get something known as your rule of thirds, which essentially divides your horizontal and vertical landscape into thirds. And being able to align your subject in one of those thirds, whether it's the vertical or the horizontal third, will not only make for a more aesthetically pleasing photo, but your viewers' eyes are naturally going to be drawn to whatever you put in that third. In addition to that, you want to use something known as leading lines. And leading lines are a really great way for you to once again naturally draw your viewers' eyes to the center of your image. And as you guys can see behind me, we've got this really dope street of the Duomo, and it's a perfect example for me to show you guys what I'm talking about with these leading lines. Let's get it. Now, as you guys can see, I've turned on my grids, so now you have horizontal and vertical lines that will separate your image. And so right here, I basically lined up the Duomo in my right third, as well as this building here in the left third. So boom, let me zoom out a little bit. And you now have 2 visually aesthetic leading lines that your eyes are going to be naturally drawn towards. But let's go ahead and flip it to the telephoto lens and see what we can compose here. And to be honest, I'm just going to center the top of the spire in my center. And this leading line right here is going to naturally draw your eyes towards that Duomo. And boom, you've got a fire image right there. But those are some tips on how to get the most out of your mobile photography in camera. But once we get back to the studio, I'm gonna walk you guys through a couple more tips on how to get the most out of the editing phase, so that you're gonna be able to bring out the most colors and saturation in your photos to get the exact image you want. So let's head back home. Alrighty folks, now that we are back home, let me just go ahead and run through a couple of my favorite photos and talk to you guys a little bit about my editing process. Now right now I have pulled it up on my Lightroom mobile app. If you guys have the Adobe Creative Cloud software, it comes included, but you can also download it for free. And as someone who's been using Lightroom my entire photography career, the mobile version has honestly proven to be better than any other photo editor I've used. And given the fact that it's compatible with my presets, just makes it all a breeze, so I don't have to worry about editing each photo individually, and I can just throw on one of my presets. So let's go ahead and run into it. All right, so real quick, as you guys can see right here, I'll just kind of scroll through a couple of my pictures that are already imported and edited on Lightroom, and these are pretty much all shot on my iPhone. And believe it or not, I am always impressed with the quality I'm able to get off these phones. So you guys can take a look for yourself. These are all edited straight from the Lightroom app using my presets, which will also be linked in the description down below. All right, so first up, let's go ahead and start with the Lambo. I think this is just a really great photo. Everything about it is just evenly lit. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw on my preset like I said, but let's go ahead and crop it so that once again, we're using that rule of thirds to line up the car within the left third. I'm going to adjust the lighting a little bit, bump the contrast, bring the highlights down, bring the shadows up. And overall, I'm pretty happy with the photo, so I think that one is pretty much done. Now let's do the Lambo from behind. Once again, I'm just gonna throw on a preset. I'm gonna drop down the exposure a little bit because I want that dark, moody vibe. And then the last thing I always do is just check the crop. Voila. All right, so let's edit this photo of my friend Mackenzie. So overall, I think the presets are looking pretty great, but once again, just gonna go with this one. Straighten it out a little bit, crop it in just a tiny bit. Once again, drop down the exposure, bring up the contrast, bring up the shadows a little bit, bring down the highlights. And overall, this photo is already looking great. All right, so this one I'm just gonna go ahead and edit without using my preset so I can show you guys the same thing. But once again, I would drop down the exposure, bring up the contrast, highlights, which are kind of like the brightest part of the image, can stay where they're at. Shadows, let's bring them up just a little bit. And then I would probably go into color. So let's play around with the temperature. Definitely could make it a little warmer. Saturation can also come up. Vibrance can also come up. Now, the only problem with Lightroom Mobile is that you don't get as much flexibility as you do on the desktop version. However, there are some really great features that you can still use. So for example, if you wanted to adjust the vertical crop or the horizontal crop, you can also do that. But overall, once again, happy with that image. Okay, so let's work on this photo of myself. To save time, I'm gonna go back to the presets. I have 2 packs of presets. One of them are the Soho presets and the other one is the Take Care presets. But man, these are once again looking clean. So first off, I'm going to adjust the crop, make sure it's straightened out, bring it in just a little bit. The only problem I see with this right now is that I can make it a little warmer, just a little bit, and then bring down the exposure. Contrast comes up, shadows also come up. Highlights once again come down. I pretty much do the same adjustments to all my photos, but the only thing here is let's just bring up the blacks a little bit. And if you told me this was shot on an iPhone, I probably wouldn't believe you because it looks so damn crisp. And especially on mobile devices, if you're just scrolling through IG, you really cannot tell the difference. Like I said, the quality you're able to get off these phones nowadays is really incredible. Once again, let's just play around with these. So I'm gonna use the same preset so I get the same kind of color tones. Bring down the exposure. Highlights can come down, contrast can come up. Voila. Let's edit this photo of Chandler. One and done. I'm telling you guys, not even to gas my own presets up, but these are killer. All right, architectural photography. I usually try and go black and white just because I know it's gonna give it a moody vibe. So let's play around with this. Bring down the contrast, highlight. Now I will say I talked about composition as my last tip. However, even if it's not perfect in camera, there are still abilities to adjust it in post. And although the best rule of thumb is to get it as close as you can in camera, sometimes after you take the picture, you realize you could adjust the crop or focus on a different part of the image. So as long as you have some sort of idea of how you want your image to be composed, you can always adjust it in post. But overall, I think I'm pretty happy with this one. And this is our last photo. So let me see if I want it in black or white or in color. So this photo, I actually applied my film preset, which is supposed to give it a little bit more grain, a little bit more texture, and not so much digital sharpness. And voila. But guys, that's going to wrap it up for my tips on how to improve your mobile photography. I hope this helped because I know how hard it can be to take great photos with your iPhone or whatever device you're using. So if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like down below. Let me know what tip was the most helpful because I'm definitely going to be trying to make more videos on helping you guys improve your photography. That's it for this one, and as always folks, don't stress, finesse. Peace, you guys.